Hey guys, Markee fan number 1 here. I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get ready for some r/AmITheA content. Thanks, trousers. Really cool. Let's go. Posted by user, utter bullcrap am I the a-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to divorce her husband? Okay, I'm aware the titles made me sound controlling, but please read the entire story so you know where I'm coming from. My daughter, 26, is married to this terrible man. He doesn't work, nor does he clean. He just plays video games from the money that I give my daughter. She's overworked, and honestly, I think she should leave him. Every time I bring it up though, she says that it's not my business and it's going fine. I know it's not my business to meddle in their relationship, but to me this is unacceptable. Well, last week was the last straw. She came to her home and overheard her husband say that he's only with her because he's waiting for me and my wife to die to get an inheritance from my daughter. He also said he'll wait till he's drained it and then leave her. She told me this because she wants me to pay for therapy to help him. I'm done with this utter bullcrap, hence the Reddit username I chose. I told her she has to leave him. I don't feel bad one bit, but she keeps saying that it isn't my place to meddle in her relationship. I told her that she has to leave him because I won't give her an inheritance knowing this man is going to waste it. She's saying that I'm an a-hole and to stop controlling her life. Am I the a-hole? Minor edit. I can see your comments and am planning on cutting her off so he leaves since a lot of people suggested it. That includes the inheritance. I will stop paying her and will cut her out of the will to get rid of the leech like you guys said. I will be updating you all soon with a post. I think that edit kinda spoils the fun here. But yeah, personally, she sounds delusional to see this guy only wanting to stay with her for the money and then attack you for offering her rational and I'd say necessary options to protect your best interests. To quote the famous female dating strategy terms, this woman is a pick-me girl and this male is a no-value male. He provides absolutely no positive qualities to that relationship now that he's shown his hand, and she knows that he's a terrible person, yet refuses to leave him. Good on you for cutting her out of the will. They both deserve nothing if this is the way they continue to act. I wish both of these idiots a very happy life together, not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, Frusky Deck says, not the a-hole. Tell the dude to his face that your daughter has been cut out of your will and that she will not inherit a dime. I suspect that would solve the problem very quickly. And do present it as something that has been done, not something that will be done. This is exactly what I was going to say. If the dude's waiting for that one thing, just say that it'll never come and watch him run for the hills. I mean, she's still subsidizing his life at the moment. I doubt he's gonna just up and leave that situation. Not until he finds someone to leech off with better prospects at least. Wanna bet he's already got contingencies on the side? I doubt it. I'm guessing this is the type of guy who talks a lot more than he does. Also, he's a loser. How many women are gonna be waiting in the wings for that crap? You would be surprised at how many people are looking for a project. Stop giving her the money that enables her husband. Tell the husband you've disinherited your daughter, and he'll leave her when she's not his cash cow anymore. Not the a-hole. And do pay for your daughter to get some serious counseling. She wouldn't be with such a loser if she had even 1 ounce of self-esteem. This is the real problem people aren't addressing. There's a good chance if she dumps this loser, the next one will be just like it. Freeloaders can sniff out insecure people with low self-esteem. I say this because I've watched multiple friends date losers over and over because they have no self-worth, and I just want to shake them and tell them they deserve better. There is a process called normalization, in which the abuse is escalated slowly, in a way that you stop realizing that a behavior is actually abusive because compared to more extreme behavior, it's mild, so you start to see it as normal. It's a very insidious process and can tear down just about anyone if they fail to recognize it in time. By the time the abuse is severe, the victim can no longer see it. Absolutely. It's not just a problem for people with low self-esteem. A skilled manipulator can suck in even intelligent, confident people. And Rolling Katamari says, not the a-hole. Cut them both off. If she doesn't want you to meddle in her life, then she shouldn't accept your money either. This is wild to me. You give her money, but somehow her life isn't your business? If my dad supported me, then yeah, my life is his business. Lol, what? Like, all while actively telling her mum all her business. So what do you guys think? I feel like there's room for an everyone sucks here judgment, as I've seen further down in the comments. Reason being, if you hear him saying that he's only with her to get some inheritance, you tell her just get therapy. They think that they're not doing enough to help the OP out. I can see the logic, I don't particularly agree with it. I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. Our next post is by user Rosemary3445, titled, Am I the a-hole for demanding my mum pays for my fiance's wedding dress? My fiance and I got engaged recently. We both work, but she purchased her wedding dress with her own money. She's very independent. We live together in an apartment. My mum has a copy of the key, and she'd come and drop and pick up stuff sometimes. A few days ago, I got back from work, and when I walked into my bedroom, I saw my aunt and mum there. Mum was wearing my fiance's wedding dress that was in the closet. I asked what they were doing, and Mum's response was to ask if she looked good in the dress. I screamed at her, asking why she had my fiance's wedding dress on. My aunt asked me to relax, they were just taking a look, and Mum wanted to try it on because she liked it. I then told my mum to put it back, and then told them both to get out. I waited in the living room till they came, and the argument ensued. I yelled at Mum that she shouldn't have touched the dress. She said it wasn't a big deal, and won't be if I keep my mouth shut and not tell my fiancé. I was enraged, and I told her to leave. I went over to the house the next day, and I told Mum that I already told my fiancé, and she was upset that someone else wore her dress before her after spending time and money to get it. It no longer fits her, and I demanded that she pay for a new dress, which costs $2,200. Mum freaked out, calling it a ridiculously entitled demand, and that my fiancé can just use the dress and stop overreacting, or buy a new one herself since she's a doctor and can afford it. My dad said it was my fault for telling my fiancé and should have just put it back in the closet and no one would say anything. I pointed out how disgusted I felt thinking about seeing my fiancé in the same dress that my mum wore. Although it was originally my fiancé's, but not anymore. He said I'm being the one with a problem here then. Mum said it's not my dress, not my money, so I needed to stay out of it, and they'll talk to my fiancé and apologize, but I know that they're probably going to try to talk her out of the entitled demand that we made. My fiancé is generous and polite. My family seemed to be taking advantage of that. I insisted and kept demanding my mum pays for the new dress after she ruined the first one, and they all started yelling at me saying I've changed and that I have no respect for them anymore. My brother and two sisters said they won't attend my wedding if I keep this up as a way to get me to stop, but I told them no, and told them that we won't speak again till this gets sorted out and they send my fiancé the money. I could see the joy my fiancé had with her dress was gone, and I might have made it a big deal, but that dress was my fiancé's. The dress was no longer the same, especially the upper part, since my mum has gained so much weight compared to my fiancé. The shoulder is now loose, which ruined the entire upper shape. I just want to say that I will be changing the locks very soon, in case my mum made other copies of the one I took from her. In all honesty, I would say that is a very smart thing to do, OP. Changing the locks to keep her out of your house, 100% absolutely do that. She's shown she can't be trusted, and your father has shown that he is an enabling piece of crap. Not to say that that diminishes any of his other qualities, but surely he sees the problem here. Why is he enabling this behavior from his wife? I don't know. It appears that you don't know. It appears that they're stuck in some crazy little echo chamber they've got going on there. In all honesty, this seems like it's grounds to completely ban them from the wedding altogether, and then on top of that, seek compensation for the damage they've caused. Obviously, that's more of a best case scenario kind of thing. I know in reality that never often happens all too much. I would love to see an update on this one to see what happens, but obviously if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do an update. It's your life. My advice is continue on the path you're doing, demand that money back. Absolutely, she needs to pay for destroying your fiance's wedding dress. That is disgusting levels of disrespect. You're not the a-hole in this situation. Now in the comments, SCM Glove says, not the a-hole. I read this to my wife and she said this is pure trash behavior. I have to agree. I just never heard such a mind-boggling story. The siblings' response is awful. Also, your fiancé is going to remember for the rest of your lives together that you stood up for her. That's what's important here. No matter the outcome, you put your bride ahead of your mum and siblings. That's big man energy right there. You guys will be alright if you keep that up. This is for Spam says, not the a-hole. Family is who we choose, not who we were born with. I think your decision to support the family you chose is the right choice. Nith says, elope. Straight up, do not tell them. Send everyone cards that explain that due to the circumstances, tell everyone what she has done, you are not holding a wedding. This will burn any bridges into this family, but that's probably a good thing. And Poplet says, not the a-hole, and lol at your mother saying that you don't respect them anymore. Gee, I wonder why. The nerve of her to say this after disrespecting your fiancé by trying on her dress and stretching it? Just baffles me. So what do you guys think of this one? Do you agree with all these punishments, or do you feel like there's something else going on here? Let me know in the comments. And our next post is by user OnlyDesigner4682, titled, Am I the a-hole for not standing by my wife when she was lecturing our son? So, me, 47 male, and my wife, 46 female, have 4 kids. 9 female, 11 female, 13 male, and 17 male, and one of them is a trans guy, 17 male. My wife hasn't been the most supportive, we're working on it, and I'm fully on my son's side. I know she's the a-hole for this, but this isn't what my question is about. Today my son came down wearing boxers and a hoodie. My wife started to complain about how it's inappropriate to walk around like that, saying that it's too revealing. She told him to put some pajamas on. A few minutes later, my son came down in a pair of pink pajama shorts that my wife brought for him. She turns to him and yells that he looks much better now. He laughs and tells her, "That's weird. These shorts are a good 5 centimeters shorter than my boxers," and had a huge smirk on his face. My wife started complaining about his attitude and turned to me to get to say something. I just told her that he's right. She's now pissed at me for not being a united front for our kids and encouraging that kind of disrespectful behavior. So, am I the a-hole? Edit, just wanted to add that this is the first time my wife has taken issue with this. It's not uncommon for my daughters to lounge about in underwear and t-shirts. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I think I might be the a-hole because I wasn't on her side, and I wasn't even sympathetic to her point of view. You don't have to be on her side for everything, and you don't have to be sympathetic to her point of view, especially when it's not compatible to just being a good, empathetic person and loving your children. Your wife obviously has no respect for your son, so why should you show her respect in this situation? Your wife obviously is excluding your son from the family, is bullying them and harassing them for their choice of clothes. That's not acceptable, and you're well within your rights to shut that down and not support her on that. My vote is not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Brownies671 says, not the a-hole, and good on you for supporting your son. Plus, his initial clothes are unisex sleepwear. Your wife is just being petty. Well, the son set the transphobic bait for the mother, and she took it, hook, line, and boxer. He knew she'd be more accepting to a feminine piece of clothing based on her history of being unsupportive. It's good that OP didn't bite too. Kids need at least one parent in their corner. It's just toxic culture all around. How people are more or less accepting of clothing based on gender? What does it matter what gender they are? Just like how much stricter dress codes in school are for girls than boys. Even though that's not the same scenario, it still falls under the umbrella of different treatment for people based on their gender, which is wrong. I agree, man. If Amy wears something that shows cleavage, no one says anything. If I show cleavage, it's all, Markee, pull up your effing pants, man. What's up with the discrimination these days, man? It's crazy. Judge Jed 100 says, not the a-hole. I know there's a sect of parents out there who think you should always side with the other parent in front of your child, and then in private raise any concerns. I don't agree with that. Sometimes you need to stand up for your kid when they can see it. You need to show them that you will back them up when someone, including their other parent, is being unfair to them. That's what you did here. You showed your son that you have his back when anyone, including his mom, is being unfair to him. Yeah, 100% agree with this. If my wife has flown off the handle at one of the kids, I call her on it. And there are times when I'm being unreasonable and she tells me so, in front of the kids, and I appreciate it. Yeah, there are times to back up the other parent and then speak out in private, and there are times to show your child that you have their back. And Trillium Summer says, not the a-hole. Your wife was rightly called out. The shorts were shorter than the boxers, so it wasn't about being revealing. Your wife didn't like the boxers but was okay with pink shorts and okay with the girls in underwear around the house. Plus, blech, as long as important bits are covered, nothing should be considered revealing to your family unless you're sexualizing them. And our next post is by user AcademicNose9239, titled, Am I the a-hole for having my wedding ceremony in sign language? So, I'm 24 female, deaf, and growing up, my parents got my bilateral cochlear implants and forced me into mainstream school. Never taught me sign language and never immersed me into my culture as a deaf person. They were actually pretty against me using ASL at all. Well, I took ASL in high school against my parents' wishes and then got into a deaf university. Although I couldn't sign fluently when I started, I finally felt accepted and understood. The deaf community was nothing but welcoming. I became fluent in ASL after a few months and stopped wearing my processors completely, as there was no need for them anymore. I honestly didn't realize how alone I had felt until I didn't feel that way anymore. I also met my fiancé at college. He's from a very large family of deaf people. Everyone he knows, even in his far extended family, is deaf, hard of hearing, CODA or SODA, and everyone is fluent in sign. I love his family so much. We have been together for 4 years now. He proposed last May. We've been planning the wedding and decided to have it fully in ASL, so the pastor at our church's deaf program agreed to do the ceremony. My extended family of hearing people is very small, just my mum, my dad, my sister, my brothers, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin. My cousin is learning sign though. Whereas, on the other hand, my fiancé's huge extended family who are all deaf or sign fluently will be there, and most of our friends are deaf or no sign. We decided to get an interpreter for the hearing people so they would know what was going on. Our wedding is in August, so we just sent out the invites. The invites mentioned that it will be in ASL, but we'll have an interpreter for those who are signing impaired, which is kinda just a joke. But my mum started texting me and tried to convince me that it should be in English and have an ASL interpreter. I feel like it's our wedding, so we should have it in our first language. But my mum thinks that we're in America, so English should be the first language. and anyone who doesn't choose to get cured, like get an implant, should get an interpreter. She also said it was disrespectful to say signing impaired. I don't think she realizes the irony, as she always refers to me as hearing impaired. And during the entire conversation, she kept repeating that I should have never let you go to that school. My mum also says that deaf people should be used to having interpreters, whereas she's never had one before, so it'll make it harder to understand. Am I the a-hole here? Should I just have the ceremony in English because I guess that's the more normal way of communication, even though we consider sign our primary language? And edit to clarify some things. 1. I can't cut off my parents as I'm currently helping pay for my little brother to go to a school for autistic kids. 2. We can't sign and speak at the same time. The pastor in my family can't speak. I can, but choose not to unless I absolutely have to. 3. My parents didn't only not learn ASL, but they explicitly prevented me from it growing up. We lived in Austin, Texas my whole childhood, and there was a school for the deaf 10 minutes from our house, but they specifically said they would never let me go there. 4. Adding this later, exact words from the invite. Reception will be held in ASL, English interpreters will be provided for the signing impaired. I literally put it in quotations. 5. The deaf community didn't indoctrinate me into not wearing my processors. I just started using ASL more and more, and then I needed a surgery to adjust the implant, but I decided just to not get the surgery and stop wearing them. There was no real point in it, and I didn't feel like getting an unnecessary surgery. And 6, another edit. To those of you questioning and even mad at me for not wanting to wear implants, you don't hear normally. Like a lot of people say things like, don't you want to hear music or birds chirping? Music through CIs suck, at least for me. Even when I used to wear CIs all the time, I would take them off to listen to music. And no, background noise like birds chirping makes it harder for the microphone to pick up other noises like people talking. Why is it always Texas or Florida when something bad like this happens, man? I'm gonna be honest, your mother doesn't sound like the most positive person to have in your life. Not a great positive influence right there. It's unfortunate that you can't completely cut off your parents, because they shouldn't be bullying you about your wedding. You should be free to do whatever the hell you want. You obviously feel more comfortable in the deaf community and in your fiance's family and extended family. Your mother obviously has a thing about controlling your life, and she regrets that she let you gain control of your own life. That's unfortunate that she can't accept reality, but the reality is that she's a terrible person. She should feel so goddamn grateful she's even allowed to be at your wedding in the first place. The fact you haven't barred them from the wedding is admirable, and I respect you for having that patience and just solid spine that you do to deal with them. Don't feel guilty about having your wedding ceremony in sign language. If she's not able to handle that, she just shouldn't go. She can't dictate anything that's going to happen in your wedding, and even more so, she can't dictate the language used when you're providing a translator and 99% of the people going use ASL as their first language, or language of choice. So yeah, screw your mum, screw your dad, you're not the a-hole and they are. Now in the comments, Wine or Death says, not the a-hole, not even close. Why should the couple getting married need a translator to understand their own ceremony to appease a few of the attendees? That is ridiculous. It would be like having a bride and groom who are hearing, love the sign impaired joke, that speak English, have their ceremony done in French, which they don't speak because a handful of attendees don't speak English. When you take ASL out of the mix, it sounds ridiculous. Why is ASL any different? In my honest opinion, your mum has issues with you being deaf, and bigger issues now that you've found your community to which she does not belong. That is toxic, and I would not cater to it. And OP replies, my mum's argument has always been, it's easier for you to stick an implant on your head than for everyone in your family to learn a new language. Yet she also doesn't view ASL as a real language. And by her argument, It's easier for your family to listen to the interpreter than to make all the remaining guests struggle to follow along. She is wrong. Do what is best for you and the supportive family you're creating and joining. Also, if she believes English is the standard and everyone should speak it, and the interpreter would be speaking English, why would it be difficult for her to now understand the language that she loves and values? Weak source manipulative argument. Good for you, OP. Honestly, all the cheers for you and you doing what's right for you and your life. Your wedding is going to be amazing. Congrats on everything. And to quote, the interpreter would be speaking English. This is what I'm hung up on. Mumzilla can watch the ceremony and listen to the interpreter simultaneously. This is literally not an issue. The hearing impaired are usually forced to make their eyes jump back and forth between the action and the signer, but I guess that's okay because they didn't choose to get cured. Ugh. I feel so sorry for OP's little brother on the autism spectrum. If her parents made her feel like crap for not being able to hear, I can't imagine what that poor boy is going through. Plus, OP is paying for his schooling. Good on you, OP, for paying for your bro to go to a special school when you didn't get to at his age. Not the a-hole. And Null Value says, quote, my mum thinks that we're in America, so English should be the first language. Not the a-hole. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's called American Sign Language? Kinda makes her statement funny. Yes, that's what made me laugh while reading. To be fair, that never really clicked for me until I met a friend who was a Japanese sign language interpreter, and then it was like, oh my god, that's so obvious, but all sign languages would be different in each country. Why did I never think of that before? Lol, live and learn, but the mum's already ignorant comment just became more ignorant with that. And Saluki Queen says, hard to understand? The interpreter is literally going to be speaking a language she understands so she can understand it. She's already got an A for how she treated you growing up, and not even learning any sign when her kid is deaf, and now this? Not the a-hole. Not only that, but because mum can listen without looking at the interpreter, she'll get to hear and see what's going on. If the ceremony was in English and an ASL interpreter was provided, the majority of guests would be looking at the interpreter instead of the bride and groom during the ceremony. It doesn't make any sense to have the ceremony in English. I'll bet the reception is going to be a real shock to the mum's system. Most of the guests will be speaking in ASL, not the a-hole. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.